So let's go ahead and start the show. How do you want to start off this time?
Oh, okay.
I mean, I can do it.
This is my least favorite part. No, it's up to you. Do you like having the guests intro in, or?
I mean, listen, I don't care who says this is Side Character Quest, a kind of thing where people play D&D and have a good time, and we follow all of the people except for the main character. I don't care who says that. If I was saying that, and if this was in the show right now, I wouldn't mind. If this was the way the show was opening, I'd be perfectly fine with that.
That was a great intro, Ty. I'm Mallory, the side character guest, playing Alton. Okay.
Okay, now we're in it. We're in it now.
We're awesome. In it for sure. That's the real intro.
That's for sure the real intro. We don't have tons of time, so we can't redo the intro.
Okay.
So listener, right now it's this is holiday season for you guys. Probably maybe it's New Year. It might be the New Year. Oh my gosh, what if this is the anniversary episode? I have not checked to see how this falls on stuff. But anyway, all that being said, I have a hard stop in about an hour or less. So let's hope we get through everything. If not, there's gonna be an unexpected cliffhanger. Anyway, so where we left off, Alton had been taken to a building and met the boss of Iver and Not and a dwarf man who had taken Alton's apprentice and threatened him and sort of stolen him away into working on a heist. Had forced Alton to work on a heist. Alton more or less agreed, kind of. How do you feel about that?
I have some questions.
Got some questions, and let's hop in on those questions. You are in. It's been a couple hours since you first had that conversation at the end of last episode with the boss, who I should probably give a name to, honestly. Let's do that real quick.
Random name generators.
Random name generators. Dwarf name generator.
I imagine that Alton probably at some point would have been like, I'm sorry, how may I address you, mysterious figure in my life?
Random name. These are all bad. These are all consonants. Her name is not Nunu Death. These are terrible. Okay, this one's actually not bad. Hosalda. So she has introduced herself to you as some point as Hosalda, and you are in a room right now. It's sort of like a conference room. There's a long oak table in the center of it. There are actually windows, and now you can recognize, looking out of these windows, you can recognize roughly what neighborhood of Cirque you're in. And in this room right now, there is Wark, who is the dwarf man that you met earlier, Iver and Not. You kind of get the vibe that there were probably you probably saw a couple other guards at some point just sort of standing, but these are the people that you will be dealing with directly. So Hosalda looks at you and says, well, if we're going to be working together, do you have any questions for me?
Yeah. Where's Daniel?
Daniel is safe for now. Is this the voice I was using earlier?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds right.
Sounds right. Daniel is safe for now, and he will continue to be as long as you do what I need you to do.
I don't think that's going to be good enough, Hosalda. I will help you guys. I have nothing against this plan. There's no need to keep Daniel here. At least let me see that he's all right. This is ridiculous. We're all civilized folk.
How do you think you would convince her that you are willing to go along with this? So because breaking into the Congress Monastery is considered by many people that would be a fairly taboo thing. I believe that Alton would be willing to do this, but I don't know that she would necessarily believe that.
Okay.
Because he's just in it for the challenge.
Gotcha. Can I offer you anything else instead? I've got a really cool magic skull in that bag that Knott's got. I can open that box for you.
At that, when you say like you can open that box for her eyes like widen up a little bit. If you are willing to give me some sort of collateral, that skull is of no interest of me, and you're able to open this box, I'd be happy to let your little boy apprentice go.
Okay.
We can say that there's something that you stole in the past that is valuable enough that she'd be willing to do that. So I just describe to me like what something is that you've stolen that was fairly valuable.
What's a cool thing that's important to dwarves? Some kind of cool magic axe?
Cool axe, hammers, like that sounds very racist of me.
I know, doesn't it? I'm sorry, dwarves.
I mean, she does have like you could tell like she has more genteel tastes than like the stereotypical.
Do I have a magic
dwarf.
quill?
Huh?
Do I have some kind of magic quill?
Yeah, so you had stolen a magical quill that will when attuned to another quill will like copy what it is doing just freehand, and it is a fairly like expensive artifact because that's a kind of lame. I feel like there's probably a lot of quills that could do that. Be like the first thing somebody would try to figure out how to do in a monastery. We'll say it's some sort of magical quill. It's doing something cool and magical.
I also just love the idea that Alton doesn't even know how to use all of the magic stuff he has. He just knows it's magical and valuable and takes it. And so like maybe he describes the quill that he stole at some point and she recognizes it as some
when you start describing various objects that you have that you'd be willing to offer up as collateral. She does not look impressed at all. But when you get to describing a particular quill that has an emerald inlaid into the nib instead of where you would normally like put ink, Wark, the dwarf, his head like perks up, and then he puts out his hand towards Hosalda and says, "I think you should take him up on that. I would very much like to have access to that particular quill." And she looks at him and he's like nodding emphatically at her. And she says, "Well, if my local arcanist believes that it's worthwhile, then I'm going to believe him. So we'll deal with the logistics of this trade-off later. And you can open this box for me a little bit later. But in the meantime, let's continue on talking about this." No.
How about we do the trade now? And I'll open the box for you later. I'll even give you the key so you can now have a magic box that no one else can open. But we're doing the trade now.
Give me what would that be, like a persuasion check?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Because I imagine I'm not an intimidating figure. It's probably more persuasion.
I feel like
I'm not trying to be intimidating. I just want Danny to go home.
Yeah, okay. Give me a persuasion check.
Oh no, I do have okay, so 16.
16? And that's going to be versus her wisdom check. 11.
Woo.
So yeah, she's like, fine. Not go retrieve the boy and meet Wark, Iver, and Mr. Alton at his workshop. All right? And they nod and get up. She rolls up this diagram that she had on the paper and proceeds to leaves for her office. And then Wark and Iver stand up and go with you out of the building to head towards town.
Cool.
Or head towards Cat's Hill and your workshop. Skip.
Yeah, I was gonna say
ahead.
we could probably like speed
we don't even
through
need to do
this.
that. You guys
Exchange.
arrive at your workshop, and Wark stays tending to the horses, and Iver and you go into your workshop. Are you gonna try anything here while you get the stuff?
I don't think so. I thought about like trying to convince you that I would have made duplicates of all of my cool magic objects, but I don't know why I would have. So
Okay.
I've never touched the quill. I'm just gonna give him the quill and then maybe try to steal it back later.
Okay. So you go into your back place. Your
I do
workshop.
grab also my do I have my bag back yet?
No, I think what's his name still has it.
Not. Can I have my bag back?
So that happens while you guys are still at the thing.
Okay.
And he says, that's not his voice. This is my voice. Fine. And he reaches to his side where he has your bag tied to his belt, and he opens it up and he pulls out your daggers and sticks them in his pocket, and he hands you the bag.
Okay. I imagine I just grab the rest of my tools and my box, my bitey box, and the quill, and put all those in my bag. Did Daniel ride back on this journey with us? Or is he still?
No.
Okay.
As you guys are stepping out of the workshop, Danny and Not ride up on two horses, and Danny not two horses.
Not did just give me my bag.
No, sorry, that was flashback.
Okay,
to
gotcha.
when you guys were in the timeline.
Okay, sorry. No. It makes sense.
You guys are in the conference room. You make Hosalda agree to give you the stuff. Then you ask Not for your bag. Not gives you the bag. You go with Wark and Iver to your workshop to grab your stuff. Not goes and gets Danny. Rides up, riding one horse, both of them on the one horse, and arrive right as you finish getting your stuff.
Cool.
He and Danny get off of the one horse, and Danny walks up to you and says, "Hey, boss, what's up with this?"
Hey, Danny. Just same old bullshit, different day.
Okay.
Are you okay? Did they hurt you?
No, they're kind of mean though.
Yeah. Listen. Wait, hold on. I don't remember. Does Danny have a family, or does he live like above the shop?
He lives above the shop. He probably has a family that lives. He doesn't live above the shop.
Okay.
But he does work there most of the time. He lives nearby, and his family lives like farther away.
Okay.
So he lives by himself.
Oh no, Danny.
Well, he's like a young, but he's not super young.
I don't know why I'm picturing him as this child. He's probably fine. I think it's the voice. But okay, listen, Danny, stay in the shop. Don't let any suspicious people in. Lock up, do your work. Go home before it gets too dark. I'll be back soon.
Okay. Is there any like special stuff you want me to do, work on, or focus on right now? No?
Just
Okay.
nope, just work.
I don't know why I asked you that.
I don't know either. I don't know what I would have him on. Just keep everything
Like
clean
you're
and
gonna have
organized and
some hyper specific like locksmithing technique that you just had prepared to go. Like,
yes, Danny, I have this. I had a lesson prepared for you today as a celebration for after this party, and I just like throw him this like crazy intricate box, and I'm like, see if you can get into that by the end of the day.
Wait, is it the box that Hosalda gave you?
No.
Okay,
It's just a different box. It's like a chest.
Okay, gotcha.
It's not magically locked by the hammer. It's just like got all kinds of crazy locks going on, and I just like toss it to him like, there you go. See if you can get in by the end of the day.
Nice. Okay, you guys ride back to the place, and exchange made, and you get to work in the conference room with your full like lock picking kit, your full locksmithing kit, that little lock chest that you had made for some rich person in the past, and that Hosalda had gotten her hands on at some point. You eventually do pop it open. And it takes you a little while because it's a very like intricately made device. It's one of your best work. And when it pops open, you find inside a large amount of gold and precious gems. There's also some paperwork in script that you don't recognize. And at this, like, Hosalda happens to walk in the room right when you get it open up, and she looks at all of it and is very excited, and walks over and grabs the paperwork and leaves behind like the gold and gems and stuff, and hustles off to her room. And Yver is just sort of like watching you with all of the gold and gems, and she's just like,
I flicker a gold coin and then I lock it back and put it in my bag.
nice. She grabs it, gives you a nod, and sticks it in her pocket. A few more hours pass. At one point, work brings lunch for everybody, and you eat it with everyone else. And eventually, Hosalda comes back, and she says, "All right, well, I think now it's time that we get to making our plan." And she takes out a large sheet of drafting paper, and she rolls it out on the conference table. And you see in front of you a large diagram of the layout of Congress Monastery. You recognize this monastery. You recognize it immediately because since it's nestled up against the circle that Cirque gets its name from, the top side of it, the north side of the monastery, is curved lightly, and just all the buildings are pressed up against that. There is also a much newer sort of half circle wall that's much shorter, holding all of the monastery in the middle, open to, I feel like there's a better way to describe all of this. Okay, this is how it is. You've got I feel like I need to have a more distinct name. I will refer to that ancient circle that's north of Cirque. I will refer to it as the Old Circle, and just picture that as like a perfectly circular, very smooth, very ancient, very tall wall that nobody's been inside of. Nobody knows what's on the inside of. This Congress Monastery is pressed up against that, and it has a half circle of its own pressed up against that is divided down the center by a large cathedral. And that half circle encloses two courtyards, each with their own buildings.
Okay.
All makes sense?
Yeah.
The wall blocking in each courtyard has a large door that can like allow in carts and stuff. Okay, makes sense?
Cool. Yeah. When I worked with the monastery to lock the door, was it like an interior door in like one of the buildings, or was it in the cathedral? Just curious. Yeah,
that makes sense. When you came in, you would have Hosalda does not know where you actually worked on it. So that's one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons that I hired you. I don't actually know. I know they were hiding something, but I don't know where in this building, in this blueprint it is. So I'm hoping you can enlighten me. So you look at this diagram, and you can point out On the west half, on the west side of the cathedral, in the western courtyard, there's housing for the monks there. There's a dining hall. There's some storage space. There's an infirmary, that sort of thing. On the eastern courtyard, there is a smaller side cathedral, not for the public use, just for, the monks and stuff. There is a hall of various like ancient objects and there's a library and those sorts of things. And there's also many offices and workspaces. There's lots of statues and stuff throughout both courtyards. You recognize, looking over this blueprint, you recognize that the hall, that is where you had added a lock to a door.
Okay.
Okay.
I make that information known.
Cool.
To the crew.
The only place that the public just has free reign of is the main cathedral. They're welcome every day at noon for a mass. And then once a week, there is a larger mass that more people attend, where it's less conspicuous for someone to show up. There's also the two doors leading into each courtyard, and those are only open during daylight hours, and they have monks watching those doors throughout the day. They won't stop you, but they will see you enter, and they will take note of you coming through if you come through during the day. At sunset, those doors get closed. The walls, neither wall has any windows to the outside, except for on the far eastern side, some of the offices that are pressed, the workspaces that are pressed against the walls, have windows leading to the outside. Do you have any questions about this layout at this point?
I don't think so.
Okay. So you are a resident thief or resident rogue, however you might want to call it. How would you approach getting into this building? I'm going to send you a picture real quick of the map layout, just because like I feel like the listeners, they'll figure it out, as we start describing stuff, but I need you to have a clear idea.
Yeah, that will be helpful.
Okay, so listeners, in case all of that was not clear, I'm going to try to describe this real fast. Congress Monastery has a main cathedral in the center. There is a western courtyard, which has more like housing, like normal life stuff, and a eastern courtyard, which has buildings that are more for work and religious studies. Bang. That's all I needed to say.
Cool.
The little dashes, when there's two dashes right next to each other, Mallory, those are indicating like a doorway.
Okay. Okay. Are we? What's the like? Are we all going?
We can all go, or it can just be you. I would recommend that. That you take at least a couple of people to stand guard, but I will certainly not be going.
So you just want whatever's in the door? It's a big door.
I just want to know what's on the other side.
Oh, you just want to know what's in it? We don't have to bring it back?
I mean, if there's stuff to bring, then definitely bring it. But I'm happy to take a second expedition once I know what to be prepared for.
Okay. Sorry, Ty. I'm trying to think. I've got like all this in my head that I wish I would have done while we were still at the workshop, that it is probably too late to do now? Question mark?
What are you thinking?
Just thinking of being an asshole. Honestly, if you want the truth, I was thinking of before throwing Danny that box, I slipped a note in there.
Which would have said,
hey, tell the monastery they're about to get robbed. But it's probably too late for that.
It's too late for that.
Damn,
that would have been a nice move.
I know. I thought about it as soon as we left. I was like, man, I should have put a note in that box. But it was like, I was already wrapped up in the story of what was happening next. Okay, so it's not uncommon for people to just go to the cathedral.
Yeah. Yes, I go there every week for my weekly prayers.
And how uncommon are Dragonborn?
You're asking me, the DM.
Yes, you, the DM. Sorry.
They are fairly uncommon. Like they are conspicuous, but they are not like, especially in Cirque, they are like they're not an unknown sight. Somebody wouldn't see a Dragonborn and be like, "What is going on?" But they might see a Dragonborn and be like, "Oh, there's a Dragonborn." Okay.
Okay.
Like they wouldn't just like fade from view like a dwarf or a halfling.
Cool. Gotcha. Well, I think what we should do. I forgot the dwarf's name, the male one.
Ooh, my name is Wark.
Sorry, Wark. Wark with a G?
Okay.
Work with a G or work with a K?
Work with a K.
Okay.
It's WARK. A work.
Awesome. Work. Okay, Work. Why don't you and I go check it out during the daytime, walk around the grounds, check out the cathedral, see what's going on. Not in Ivere, you should probably not just you will be super noticeable. What do you guys bring to the table? What is everyone good at? I don't know anything about you guys.
And at that, you hear a thud in the wall or in the table next to you, right like adjacent to your hand, as a knife slams into that spot and just sort of goes twang, and not just sort of nods towards you with that and smiles. And then Yver, she looks at you, and with a puff of like frosty air comes out of her mouth, and then she just kind of flexes, just kind of goes like, I can more than handle myself. Don't worry, we will provide the muscle if you so need it.
That's what I'm afraid of. We're not trying to hurt anybody.
You say that, but I am more than willing to hurt people if you need it.
All right, not you're off the team.
That was Yver talking, by the way.
Sorry, Yver.
If you need me to hurt people, though, I am more than happy to hurt them. And not high fives, Yver.
Oh Lord, Work. What you got going on besides knowing about quills?
I mostly do arcana. I have some mastery of various things. I don't know. You're kind of putting me on the spot. I mean, oh boy. I don't like talking about myself. Oh geez. Can you come back to me later when you go through the rest of the team? Oh no, you already did. Geez.
You're good. You're good.
Okay, thank you. And he sits down. He had stood up during that.
Okay, well, I still stand by that Work and I should go check it out during the day. And then, if they're not, you just stay away and try not to kill anybody. And then, I don't know that, like, do we know about this? I know you mentioned it briefly. Sorry, I'm trying to think. What's the schedule like of guard? Like,
Yeah,
how would
so
we know all of this?
As far as you know, the schedule seems to be that the doors for the courtyard are open at dawn every day, and then they close at sunset. There are people watching the doors, but they're not necessarily like they're there in case somebody is like clearly drunk or clearly violent or like something like that. But they would notice people coming through, but they're not going to just like stop a normal person. The main cathedral, though, like that is just full on open to the public. There is nobody watching that entrance whatsoever. The walls are high enough that the average person would not be able to climb them. Certainly not in a amount of time that would where you could do it sneakily,
Mm-hmm.
During the day at least. And there are some windows that like are low enough that maybe you could get to them. Like maybe you could climb up to them, but they are attached to the offices on the east side. They're basically these offices that are pressed up against the inner side of the wall of the east courtyard.
Okay, and from this map, am I to assume that there is one door, two doors in the cathedral, and that's the main door, and then a small door going into the housing, and that's it?
That is the only one that you are aware of. There might be more.
Okay.
Yeah. There's also some like windows, but they're like stained glass windows. They're not
right.
They're not the sort of thing. You actually recognize them. You know that Ellen Quayle has done a lot of work for them.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Doing the stained glass for that building.
Cool. So you guys really had just no plan?
We got the blueprints. That's hardly nothing. And also, we got you.
Well, these blueprints don't even show all the doors.
That's my fault. That's not her fault. The doors, anytime you like, they're not exactly blueprints. It's more of like a rough diagram, but there are doors written down in any of the spots where it would be obvious, where it's not like a secret passage.
Okay.
It's just that I personally did not draw out all the doors.
Here's what I'm thinking. What do you guys think? I change everything what I said before. We're all going to go to the cathedral relatively soon before it closes. Not any Vare. You guys are going to go in separately, draw the attention, and then me and Wark will go in after and try to find, if we can, away from the main cathedral into the smaller side cathedral, and find somewhere in there or nearby to there that we could hide until the cathedral is closed to the public. And then, okay. And then assuming that you guys are kicked out, if you guys can find a place to hide, that's great. Good job. Please don't kill anybody. I can't stress that enough. That's not cool.
We do not kill when it is not necessary. It's not our fault that people make it necessary sometimes.
Cool. If you guys can find a place to hide until...
It's like, cool, okay.
Cool. Like, live your dream, I guess. But, and then I guess once it gets dark, we'll try to get from the main/side cathedral into the courtyard, hoping that the guard situation will have died down, because there would be no reason for there to be guards once the doors are all closed.
Sounds fine to me, personally. How about you, Iver? I have no problem with this. How about you, Wark? Well, it sounds fine. And how about you, Hosalda? It sounds perfectly okay to me. Of course, I'm not going to be doing it, so I don't give a shit.
Cool. And then we can plan on meeting outside the Hall of the Forgotten an hour after official closing time.
Excellent.
And hope that that will give enough time for everyone that would have been guarding to be moving to get to the dining place and housing and all that cool stuff.
Excellent. So I know this has been a very short episode, but I think that I'm going to call it here because I have to get ready to leave now. Me, Ty, physically in the real world, I'm running out of time. Hope you guys don't mind this being a little bit shorter than usual. We're going to be going straight into Mallory's plan, or Alton's plan, next episode. So look forward to it, guys. Whoa!
I know, I feel like this has made it seem like Alton's not that great at heists, but I imagine he's just not used to having other people to think about.
Yeah.
Like,
and I imagine he also, like, he more does things of opportunity, you know?
Yeah.
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 So anyway,
anyways,
let's go ahead and clear out. How should we wrap things up? How do we wrap things up, I think?
You do this every time. And you would think by now I would have thought of something clever to say. But thanks for listening to Side Character Quest, everybody. We will see you in 2 weeks, hopefully if Ty's not late, putting up this episode.
It happens sometimes.
It happened, but that's okay.
All right.
Sorry, no, let's not do that.
We're not going to do that. No, this is perfectly on time.
Thank you guys for listening to Side Character Quest. We will see you in 2 weeks with some heist action, and hopefully it will be full of exciting twists and turns, and Alton will not die in the process.
Awesome. All right, guys. Have a good time. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Thanks to the Joy Drops for the use of Not Drunk as our intro and outro music. Find them at thejordrops.com. You can find us at sidecharacterquest.com, at SCQ Podcast on Twitter, or by email at sidecharacterquest@gmail.com.
This is gonna get cut and put in the bloopers.
And everything's good, and I'm gonna finish my Skittles.
Nice. Yeah, I remember like reading up, trying to find like, okay, what are ways to avoid mouth noises? And one of the things was like, don't drink too much water because then your mouth will be wet. The other thing was drink some water though. And it's like, ugh.
What's the correct amount of water?
How much water do I drink? It's like, you got to drink enough water that your mouth is nice and wet, but not so much that it's like splooshy. I'm like, ugh. You're ruining me.
It's awful. I remember there was, because like I guess when we made videos and stuff, there was brief moments where I would have to edit sound, and I would be like, why does everyone make such awful noises with their mouths? It's horrible to listen to, but anyways.
I try to edit as much as possible, but
Yeah.
I can only do so much. I can only do so much. So do you think that after that conversation with, just based off of what you heard right then, and assuming that Danny is like still having his, like still being threatened, do you think you would go along with this heist at this point, or do you think you would need extra like conversation with them to be convinced?
I would at least want to try to convince them to let Danny go.
Okay.
Or at least need to know that Danny is okay.
Okay, cool. So I think we will, okay, so I know how we'll start off. But at this point, you're not like actively trying to flee or to kill anybody.
No.
Okay, cool. By the way, in Cirque and Cat's Hill and stuff, like murder is not super common. And so like you get the, like, you don't get the vibe that these people would just like kill you willy-nilly. They might hurt you willy-nilly, but they wouldn't kill you willy-nilly.
Oh, Cersei, no ma'am.
But yeah.
Okay, cool. Good to know. And I would also assume that Danny would be alive. Probably
Yes.
not happy, but alive.
Yes.